Good day. I thought I'd explain why I really like Islam. Islam's got a few problems amongst itself deciding which is the best form of Islam there can be, and that causes, unfortunately, ructions in the Islamic world and ructions in the Western world. But nonetheless, let's look at Islam as a thing and not by the way it's run by the various elements in it, who live by tribal friction, not necessarily by some sort of interpretation of the Quran that would suit a no more harmonious sort of global sphere of being, if you like. Although, of course, there are plenty of Islamic people in the world who do live harmoniously amongst each other. You can't tell, so it doesn't matter. The thing is, I like Islam because the way it has the balance, the way it's strong about the family, and the way it has the balance between men and women. And that's something I truly respect, because I respect all cultures that keep that balance between the yin and yang, if you like, between that biological entity which is a man and woman, right? That gives out the rest of the human race. That is the foundation. The family is the foundation of the human race. So when the Islamic people are very staunch about keeping their male-female gender role as basically fixed, and because they recognise it's a biological factor, it's not a political factor, it's not a PC factor, or what a fabricated matter that biology is man and woman makes one whole human, if you like. That's not it's a biological factor. Now, and one whole individual, human is an individual for sure, but they can't make another one without another one which has to be of the opposite sex, not the same sex, as is now propagated by the left in Australia. That is now propagating to children that you can make babies with the same sex or something like that. That's a proposed, because it's not actually telling biology lessons anymore that you need two to make babies. But the thing is about that, about the left, is that they also, the feminists in the left and the left itself, support Islam now, and they support Islamic men and the way it is between Islamic men and women. So therefore they're leaning towards Islam, the feminists and the people on the left, the political correct, who are now, if you like, the vanguard, at the very front in the attack on the rest of the society, or that's not Islamic, but might not understand Islamic, or might not tolerate it, or might not want to be, whatever it is that it may have, or not understand Islam, or can't have a conversation with Islam, doesn't realise Islamics are mostly highly philosophical people, and that you can have a damn good conversation with most of them when you get to know them, instead of being shy about it and talking about them. Instead of talking with them, they talk about them, and I think that does no good or any good. But if you look at the left and the feminists and all these politicians now, well, they're the sort of defenders now of the Islamic Caliphate. They're the front runners now in the West, supporting the Islamic male and having sort of dominance over his female partner, and that means the left are supporting the male-female biological situation, if you like, contrary to what they're saying in the schools and the political correct agenda, that there's gender fluidity and all that sort of stuff. They're then totally contradicting themselves and saying that they fully support all the other cultures that don't go along with this, whether it's Hindu or Chinese or Muslim. They've all got, everyone's got this narrative that's based on yin and yang, and the Chinese and Indians have got their stories about whatever it is, their story, their mythological stories about man and woman, it is, and the Bible's got Adam and Eve, of course, and I suppose that means that Muslims have also got Adam and Eve as well, because they share the same sort of roots, if you like, when it comes to following what a deity means, because they come out with a different slightly different interpretation in the end. But the thing is, this is an ironic point about the left, that he doesn't like the traditional white male and woman thing, but then he supports Islamic males being sort of slightly more dominant over their females, whereas the white men usually allow women to be dominant over them, if we, let the truth be known. And maybe feminists and these prefer to be really secretly in their secret hearts want to be dominated by a man, and maybe that's what their problem. They go and see this Muslim men, and mostly more robust men, manly men. Let's face it, they can walk around proud of their manhood because they know, sort of, their wife must respect their manhood, and they must respect their wife's femininity. That's the point. That's the thing, you see. So one wonders what's going on inside the left's head. 1 minute it's for gender fluidity, next minute it's for the protection of Muslims and Islamic right, that as a total separation between man and woman. So one has to wonder about what's going on in their heads, or they can't make their mind up, or actually they are actually now Islamic themselves, but don't care really to admit it. Anyway, that's just a short take on why the left actually support. 1 minute they're saying they're all for gender fluidity in schools, next minute they're totally defending ferociously and aggressively, they're defending Islam and its right to have a separate identity for men and women. It's a total contradiction, but maybe the underlying cause of that is that the left would rather, women in the left would rather be hanging around more dominant men than the emasculated type they're hanging around with right now, and they're actually jealous to death of Islamic women, of a nice robust man to sort of cuddle up to at night time and all that. Anyway, it's just another sort of philosophical view, if you like, of what's going on in this sort of strange political world that we live in today, and why I sort of respect Islam for standing up for its rights. Do not let the left get you down and tell you your kids it's all, all this nonsense they tell to Western kids about gender fluidity, because that is a total propaganda lie that destroys the West for no reason, although there's no reason for that. When then the left supports the total thing it says it's against. It makes them look silly, doesn't it?